The Italian Dolomites, a bucket list destination for people all over the world, famed for its towering pillars of rock, endless hikes and stunning views. But on this visit, I'm tackling something out of most people's comfort zones, something that will literally put me on the edge of these vertical cliffs, Via Ferrata. It all starts by flying into Venice, where you can get a direct coach from Marco Polo Airport up to the popular town of Cortina d'Ampezzo. I'll leave all the details and links in the description below. Now this is a popular resort type town, so the hotels are quite expensive, which is why I opted to pitch a tent in Camping Rochetta, mainly for the price, but also because my original plan was to go from refuge to refuge, via ferrata from each one to the other one. But the weather is so unpredictable here that there was a good chance that I would get stuck. So I decided, instead of trying to gamble on everything working out, I would just book this for 10 nights and then play the whole trip by ear. And that plan quickly paid off, as the first 2 days were a write-off due to the rain. It's been raining way too much for it to be safe to do any via ferrata in that mountain. And then, finally, on day 3 of my trip, I got my first chance to get up into the mountains. Alright, I finally made it. Duca d'Aosta, one of the many refuges in this area, and a good place to start my journey because there's quite a few easy via ferratas here, so I can warm up and get into the groove of it. And I can already see some people up there. That looks really cool. Similar to rock climbing, via ferrata involves scaling a cliff face, but unlike rock climbing, you don't use a rope and a second person to belay you. More on that later. What you'll need is a helmet, harness, via ferrata lanyards, and some fingerless climbing gloves. All of this can be rented from Cortina, but it can be quite expensive, so I would recommend bringing your own. It will also help to bring some approach shoes instead of hiking boots, as it will help you grip the rock better. Now, finally, after a long wait, I can begin my first via ferrata in the Italian Dolomites, starting with this one, Maria e Andrea Ferrari. Using those 2 lanyards, you clip yourself onto the wire that begins the climb, and then the rest is on you. Holding onto the rock or the wire and ensuring you always have at least one clip attached when you reach the bolts. This is where things begin to get scary. As you climb higher and higher on a rock that's increasingly more steep and exposed, you begin to question your life choices. But with that height comes its own rewards, and as the initial nerves pass, a feeling of strength, accomplishment and joy take over. The thrills of the climb. That's it. The first via ferrata. Took a small while for my confidence to get back, especially in the beginning where it's quite steep. But yeah, after a couple of dozen meters, it was good. But as with most climbs, the day's not over until you're back off the mountain, and that leads me to my next climb of the day. This one's called Centenario Giuseppe Olivieri, and I'll definitely pronounce that wrong. This one is a longer climb that will take me to the lifts on the other side so I can get back down, and that need to cross this terrain is actually what via ferrata is all about. From the Italian for iron path, it can trace its roots to the late 19th century with the rise of Alpine tourism, but primarily began during World War I. Developed in the Dolomites, the Italians and Austrians began to fix cables, metal rungs and ladders across the mountains in order to move troops and equipment as they fought to control and hold lands and mountains. I can't imagine what those men had to go through, living and fighting up here, struggling with the terrain and the weather. None of it would have been easy. On many of the ferratas you can still see the remains of their efforts, their outposts and bunkers. After the war though, many of these iron paths were preserved and developed for sport and tourism. This is awesome. There are now over 1,000 via ferratas in Europe, primarily in Italy and Austria, with most of Italy's 400 plus routes found right here in the Dolomites. I had been making good time on this ferrata and could finally see the refuge on the other side. Oh, so good. Such a good day. It's only 1:30 actually. I finished a lot earlier than I thought I would. My first climbing day was a great opening act to what this exciting terrain has to offer. But what was to come exceeded all my expectations, because the next day was to be the longest and the toughest via ferrata day of my entire life. Alright. I'm back at Refugio Duca d'Aosta on the second day under cloudy skies. It's a bit chillier today, but today I'm going to attempt one of the toughest via ferratas in this area. But first I need to do a little warm-up. This is a quick and fun ferrata to get the body moving again after sleeping in a tent. However, I would later regret taking the extra time on it, as the ferrata to come would take me the rest of the day to complete. Made it to the top. That was quite the warm-up. And the clock was ticking on the gondola at the top. I did not want to be trapped up at 3,100 meters. Okay, making my approach to this beast of a via ferrata, Giuseppe Olivieri, Punta Anna. and this is one hell of an approach. Quite a steep incline to get there. Definitely gonna have a pizza break when I do.
One of the trickiest parts of these ferratas is actually getting there. They're not always easy to find. Thankfully, there's an app for that, called Ferrata Guide. And the most useful part of this app are topographical maps which break the whole route down, like this one I'm about to embark on.
This ferrata takes you all the way to the summit and to the tallest cable car in this area, and then it's on my way back down. I need to make it before it closes, and this is going to be a long climb. Oh, I'm looking forward to this.
It's actually two ferratas. The first half takes you to Punta Anna, and the second one, called Gianni Aglio, takes you to the top. Together they are known as Ferrata di Mezzo. It doesn't take long before the exposure on this climb begins. With dozens of meters below me already, I stand on these tiny edges on the rock, and this was only the beginning. This route was set up in 1960 and named after the Italian mountaineer Giuseppe Olivieri to climb the exposed and very difficult south ridge of Punta Anna. It's a high grade and requires prior experience with via ferrata and decent endurance to complete. You'll also have to be comfortable hanging off the edge of things.
Wow, that was nuts. There were some sections there, literally couldn't do anything else but rope climb. That was intense. Got it though, got to the top. Well, not that section. Still a lot more to go.
This is a very popular ferrata in the area, but that popularity comes with some issues, mainly that the rocks get polished, meaning they get smooth and harder to grip onto.
It's got a lot of usage over the years, so the rocks are quite smooth. Makes it difficult to hold on. I think I'm just over halfway there. You know, the most difficult part of these kind of via ferratas is not so much the individual legs, it's towards the end when you're exhausted, you're not paying attention. That's dangerous because you're rushing, you're not thinking, everything's a bit of a blur. That's dangerous. I'm not quite there yet, but I can see that there's quite a long way to go still on this via ferrata, Punta Anna. But I can see the refuge at the top. It looks pretty cool and welcoming.
Eventually I reached a junction that allows for an escape to another refuge. It's easy to go the wrong way here, so make sure to head upwards.
Okay, I've just finished Punta Anna. It finishes right here and you can escape and head down to the lifts to go back. However, it does connect to another via ferrata called Gianni Aglio, which heads up to the summit. And I think I've got a little bit of energy left in my tank. It's 2 o'clock. I think I've got this. It's gonna be hard. It's similar to what I've just done. So basically I'm halfway there. Oh, why am I doing this? All right, let's do this.
I didn't know it, but what was to come would test me even more and take me into a world of incredible features and exciting but deadly drops.
Thankfully on this one it's mostly A's and B's and a decent amount of walking, because I felt a drop of rain earlier. It wasn't scheduled to rain, but nothing's ever for certain in the mountains. Always be prepared. So I'm trying to make best time now, get up there before any crazy thunderstorm happens and I'm trapped on the mountain.
As usual, when I open my mouth I step in it, because those A's and B's quickly turned into C/D's. But with that, the thrill level was increased and I felt a great sense of excitement to be in this environment. And soon after I ran into the only 2 other climbers I had met all day, who were happy to let me tag along and enjoy the rest of the trip as a group, something I appreciated on this next section. Walking around the edge, you follow the cable in semi-disbelief, wondering if this is the correct path, carefully placing your feet on the tiny edge below and gripping the cable for dear life as you hang over a 200-meter drop. No room for error here. That was the most thrilling section so far and a lot of fun. But eventually you're led back to a more reasonable path where you get to see how much you still have left to go. This is truly a beast of a climb, and I was starting to get worried we would miss the gondola. We spent the next hour traversing this terrain, passing over rugged, crumbly rock, more death-defying ledges, scaling steep rung ladders, and passing under a beautiful stone arch. This place is like an alien landscape, presenting challenges but also awe-inspiring moments and sights. Soon after, we scaled a weird double ladder which led us to a beautiful panoramic view of the terrain below, and that marked the end of the arduous climbing for this ferrata. But we still had a long way to go before reaching the summit, and the deadline for the gondola was approaching.
I am exhausted. I'm tapped out. I reached the end of my energy reserves. I'm having to tap into whatever scraps are left. But we're at 3,000 meters now. We've only got another 100 meters to go in elevation to get to the cable car. And I've got a very big pizza waiting for me. I'm glad to have done this, but it is tiring.
Thankfully, the rest of this journey was mostly hiking and scrambling, but the length of the day was catching up to us now, and then the unexpected happened again. It began to hail.
This is an unexpected turn of events. Almost there.
The elevation actually did us a favour here, because lower down we would have been caught in the rain, and you definitely don't want that. So we pushed on. The end was in sight now, excited to tick this incredible ferrata off the list and call it a day. Until finally, out of nowhere, a viewing platform emerged from the rock. This marked the end of the ferrata, the uppermost section, and with 15 minutes to spare. Or so we thought.
Turns out we've got 5 minutes before the cable car shuts down for the day, so we need to rush and get there first.
Yep, the top gondola actually closes at 10 to 5, but thankfully one of the staff heard our cheers of joy after reaching the top and rushed to warn us, allowing us to make it just in time, descending the lift and seeing everything we had climbed that day. This was the toughest, longest ferrata day I have ever done, but it was by far the best, and the Dolomites weren't done with me yet. Thank you for watching to the end, and if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It all helps me to bring you more of these videos. I'll see you in the next one.